Hello everyone, this is South Carolina, Crime and History, and today we're going to be diving into the story of Troy Allen Burkhart, a man who murdered 3 people in what he says was self-defense. On the morning of Friday, November 14th, 1997, in rural Anderson County, South Carolina, Troy Allen Burkhart shot and killed 3 acquaintances, 27-year-old and 22-year-old brothers Shane and Stacy Walters, and 21-year-old Sonia Can. The victims had spent the weekend with Burkhart, working on his septic system at a bar he owned called Traditions, consuming methamphetamines and alcohol, activities that would later become central to the trial narrative. At approximately 5 a.m. on the fatal morning, the 4 drove off for what Burkhart described as a deer hunting trip. Within minutes, he claimed, the Walters brothers and Can seized his gun, threatened to sexually assault him, later reportedly describing it as a scene out of the movie Deliverance. Allegedly, the 3 made comments about making him squeal like a pig and attacked him. In response, Burkhart contends he grabbed the weapon and fired until the gun jammed, then fled the scene and called his father, apparently on the way to go pick up his father and his wife, Tammy Steele. He later turned himself in at the Seneca police station and led officers to the bodies in a kudzu field. Burkhart admitted to the killings, but pleaded self-defense. The state's forensic pathologists argued otherwise. Multiple execution-style shots, post-mortem stomping, and a claim of dragging victims from the truck suggested an execution rather than a struggle. In March 2000, a jury convicted him on 3 counts of murder and 3 counts of firearm possession during violent crime, sentencing him to death. Burkhart appealed, successfully arguing that the jury was not properly instructed on the burden of disproving self-defense beyond a reasonable doubt. In June 2002, the South Carolina Supreme Court overturned the convictions and remanded for a new trial. He was retried and again sentenced to death in 2004, but in 2007, the court affirmed his guilt, while rejecting the death penalty over procedural issues, re-sentencing him to 3 life sentences without parole. Burkhart's defense also raised a complex family dynamic. His uncle Ronnie Burkhart, allegedly a major drug trafficker, was purportedly involved in a confrontation with the Walters brothers, potentially implicating them in a broader criminal context. While family ties and drug dealings emerged as potential motives, no concrete link was established. Which brings us back to the sexual assault claim, where the 3 victims reportedly claimed they would make him squeal like a pig. This becomes significant because Stacy Walters' autopsy later revealed he was wearing a condom at the time he was killed, which Burkhart could not have known when he took the police to the scene. The state speculated it was the same condom Stacy wore when he had intercourse with Tammy Steele earlier in the evening, but the defense argued this was highly unlikely, as hours had passed since he had sexual contact with Tammy, and that this fact corroborated Burkhart's self-defense claim. The case of Troy Allen Burkhart is marked by brutal violence, personal testimony of self-defense, and pivotal legal battles over jury instruction and sentencing. What began with a weekend of partying devolved into an ambush, a violent clash, and a protracted legal drama. The ultimate resolution, life without parole, reflects judicial acknowledgement of guilt while navigating constitutional safeguards in capital cases. Whether justice has been served remains a matter of debate, reflective of a crime that outraged a community and tested the limits of South Carolina's criminal justice system.